There are two sides to the discussions. You can make an argument in defense of Dogma, but let me explain to you why that doesn't always work, especially in a scenario like this. Dogma DarkArisen has quite a few things going for it. On one hand, I really love the combat gameplay, the fact that you can switch vocations, really nice, and the dynamic enemies encounter as you explore the world. It really does have such a vast open field for you to discover and fight your way through all these aspects together, give you the fun of your time. I can't deny that. But on the other hand, I'm scratching my hand wondering, who designed the questing and save systems? I can absolutely see someone quitting Dogma pretty early on or even halfway through because of these problems, especially when it was initially released. Some of the quests in DarkArisen can be so ludicrously dragging and fatiguing at times that instead of actually progressing in any way, you find yourself running around in a maze, and before you know it, a full in-game day has already passed. Seriously, some of the missions in the game are so vague it feels like I'm being asked to cut off my arms and legs as a trade-off to even know where I should be going. One of the strengths of Dogma is its open world exploration, but the one way you can ruin that aspect is by having questing design that lacks basic guidance and is one that is difficult to navigate, because in time that will not only make the game exhausting to even play, but the constant need to go to every corner of the map again and again and again would put even that exploration feature in bad light once you've gotten tired of running in circles. Anything excess can be bad. Take this as an instance. You have a quest that tells you to locate a book and you think you have an idea, only to end up scanning the whole village and you still can't find the item. And when you do look up where the item is located on the map, it is in an area that you would never in a million years guessed. And I meant that. I found out later on the item wasn't even on surface level. It wasn't on the ground. It was on the roof of some random house, which it sort of contradicts everything that the NPCs were telling. Speaking of maps, now I don't mind the map being a little bit vague in terms of where marks your objective or where it is that you're supposed to be going, because the game does encourage you to go out on your own to some extent, but perhaps maybe a bit too much. Instead of actually playing or having fun, I'm really just wasting my time. Some of the missions have little to no indication or direction whatsoever. They could have multiple points of interest, but then those marked locations have nothing to help you progress the quest either, because once again, there are more than one factor that comes into play. And the problem is, the game doesn't tell you any of this. Actually, forget telling. There isn't even a hint. There is a mission called Nameless Terror. And this mission wants you to seek out 5 groups of assassins throughout the entirety of the game map, and good luck finding where these bandits are without searching them up on Google. There's also a quest titled Idol Worship. The only instruction you have is to seek out the idol. Remember, it says the idol, not an idol. But the idol, which sort of implies not only is it a specific type of item, but a particular idol as well, and the rest is bring you to Capcom, the NPC, and that's about it. When you look at your map after setting the quest as priority, you get absolutely nothing, not one. Not even the NPC himself had any dialogue or line that gives you any hint. I had to look up the quest on Google, and this is pretty important quest because when you do complete it, you get important selection of new weapons. If I didn't have access to Google or even the game wiki, I dare say I might have ended up quitting the game entirely. And there's still plenty more I can list out, such as the existence of an important NPC known as the Black Cat Merchant. I call him Scammer, but let's be honest, he carries various DLC items in a service called Forgery, which replicate items including quests, and certain quests do have subtle but different outcome if you turn in the replicate. And the fact that this guy is all the way in the corner of nowhere, in the city square between 2 buildings, is baffling to me, considering I would think he'd be one of the main center of attention given what he has in his shops. There's just a lot the game doesn't tell you. In general, the quests lack much needed context and good dialogues, like there's just no real coherent narrative or story direction in the world, even though I do think the general premise of Dogma is really intriguing, but it needs a bit more thoughts given to it, right? A bit more refinement. I keep coming across missions where I'm just trying to find an NPC, only talk to him or her with few dialogues, and that was it. Either it led to another objective that also gives me little to no direction, or that was the end of it. I don't really find myself that enticed by the lore, to be honest, and I really only end up asking myself more and more questions about my character and certain story elements than anything else. It's really unfortunate, but the game's storytelling overall just needs to be greatly polished. I can see how when the game was first released, most who played the game weren't very drawn in the game lore. That takes us to the next pain in the ass part of the game, and that is the save system. I don't think I've seen something so infuriating in a while. Apparently, the way the game save system works is that you have 2 types of saves and a checkpoint. The game saves for you automatically at certain points, such as completing quests, traveling to a different region of the map, or get this, entering or exiting certain places such as the main city or a village. And then you have a checkpoint which, based on my experience, is when you rest in an in-house. The last part I mentioned in the automatic save, which is when the game saves for you when exiting or entering a village or a city, is what frustrates me. Why in the hell does that override your own manual save point? That baffles me. I wasted 5k discipline for a skill I just wanted to test out by engaging random mobs outside of the city. All of it gone just like that, for such a simple fault of the system that should have never been there in the first place. Also, why wouldn't your manual save be the priority save above all others? If your most recent save is the one you made yourself, then that should have been the point in which you restarted from, if you use the retry from last checkpoint options, or if you restart the game. But no, the save system just had to be really scuffed, doesn't it? I haven't even finished the game at all, but so far Dogma comes out to me as a game with engaging combat and a lot of great concepts that just need to be polished during the entire production process. Now, some might defend this by saying the game forces you or encourages you to explore and discover on your own and leaves a lot of things ambiguous. Here's the issue. No amount of exploring, or heck, maybe even a full game worth of playtime, might be what is required to complete some of the quests I mentioned, such as the idol worship, because it isn't just about exploration, but lack of information overall. It's just unlikely you'll ever complete that quest, and the constant need to scout every end of the map is going to eventually lead to even that exploration fatigue. Logically speaking, if someone wants me to accomplish a certain task, I need few notable hints to point me in the general direction, but none of that is really present in some of the quests. So even that argument doesn't stand whole. In addition, there's a limit to the amount of time and patience that people are willing to give to a game, not to mention a limit to the variety in the enemies and environment types, especially for a game that is mostly open world. I would typically set aside a certain amount of time that I would give to a game, and if what the game wants is for me to wander off aimlessly in its world to find some who know what the item is that I'm looking for, why would I continue playing that game over something else that would give me more values for my time? Remember, people have things to do, and again, at some point even that open world exploration will eventually lose its appeal. It will wear out and will just become more of an annoyance of traversal than anything. I'm curious, for those who played the game back in 2012, how badly were some of these problems, in addition to maybe bugs and performance, if there were any. Let me know in the comments. Alright, that should sum up some of my major issues with Dogma so far. I'm still playing the game as we speak, so try not to spoil anything for me, but otherwise do let me know what you think, and consider subscribing and leaving a like as well, and I'll catch you later.